The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. So I've got some really cool books and tea to talk about, but before I begin, I've got some news. I do want to give a shout out to Mountain Toad up in Golden, Colorado for a fantastic holiday event this past Sunday. It was a nice group of vendors. We were there from 12 to 5, I think. And we did have some snow that morning, but then it panned out and the sun came out. So many thanks to Mountain Toad and to Amanda for a great event, and hopefully I will return next year for their spring event. And coming up this Saturday, December 9th, is the Denver Vegan Holiday Market. That's going to be at Town Hall Collaborative. The hours are from 11 to 3. So it's going to be local vendors, food trucks, live music, holiday beverages, raffles, and more. And actually, I just submitted some of my tea to be a part of the raffle. So if you come to the event and you see my tea, yay, it's really good stuff. So yeah, once again, that is the Denver Vegan Holiday Market at Town Hall Collaborative this Saturday, December 9th, from 11 to 3 p.m. So I will have tea, books, artwork, and photography, and I can't wait to see the other vendors and just have a good time. All right, so with regards to the books, so the first book is actually by an author that I haven't read too much of her work, but what I've read, I loved. It is Doris Lessing, and this is called The Grass is Singing. I was introduced to Doris Lessing's work by The Golden Notebook, which if you've never read it before, you need to read it, but be prepared. It's not a beach read. It will take some time, but when you come out of it, I think you'll be a completely different person. A lot of people considered it to be a feminist work, which I could see that, yes. So I read that, and then I read one of her later books called Love Again, which I think I reviewed on Viridian Tea House. But The Grass is Singing was actually her first book, and let me read the back of it for you. Set in South Africa under white rule, Doris Lessing's first novel is both a riveting chronicle of human disintegration and a beautifully understated social critique. Mary Turner is a self-confident, independent young woman who becomes the depressed, frustrated wife of an ineffectual, unsuccessful farmer. Little by little, the ennui of years on the farm work their slow poison, and Mary's despair progresses until the fateful arrival of an enigmatic and virile black servant, Moses. Locked in anguish, Mary and Moses, master and slave, are trapped in a web of mounting attraction and repulsion. And it's interesting how that balance was between the attraction and the repulsion. Like, one was never more than the other. It was really kind of balanced, but that was just my opinion. Their psychic tension explodes in an electrifying scene that ends this disturbing tale of racial strife in colonial South Africa. The Grass is Singing blends Lessing's imaginative vision with her own vividly remembered early childhood to recreate the quiet horror of a woman's struggle against a ruthless fate. And Doris Lessing was born to British parents in Persia in 1919 and moved with her family to southern Rhodesia when she was 5 years old. She went to England in 1949 and has lived there ever since. I think she's passed now. She's the author of more than 30 books, novels, short stories, reportage, poems, and plays, and is considered among the most important writers of the post-war era. Her most recent works include 2 volumes of autobiography, Under My Skin and Walking in the Shade, and a novel, Mara and Dan. So yes, this was quite a read. I know about apartheid in South Africa, but yeah, just reading this book was very cringe-worthy at times, and the balance or the connection that Mary had with Moses, it was both repulsive and fascinating to read. It was very interesting to read how Mary descended into this frustrated woman who later on succumbs to madness, but because you see her at the beginning just being self-reliant and just kind of being her own thing, but because of the pressures of being a white woman who wasn't married, then you see that slippery slope descend her into what she could not eventually get out of. But the ending was horrific, a little bit touching. It's like you start at the beginning of the act, after the act, and you're like, oh my God, I know there's a story behind this. And then the rest of the book leads you to that point, so that by the time you get to this end, you kind of have a little bit of sympathy, maybe. But then again, it's just me. You might feel different if you read it. But yes, I did enjoy reading The Grass is Singing, and I can't wait to delve into her other books. And I have been thinking about reading The Golden Notebook again, because it really did kind of change my life a little bit. So for The Grass is Singing by Doris Lessing, it receives 5 pots of tea from Viridian Tea House. I truly enjoyed reading it, and Doris Lessing is just one of those authors that's just always a classic, always enjoyable. I just can't wait to read more of her work. So many thanks to the ghost of Doris Lessing. Now we go from South Africa to Iceland. So many thanks to Sheridan Library for having this book. So it was during one of my study days, and I just kind of walk around like you do, and this one book just caught my attention, and I'm like, I don't know anything about Iceland except Bjork. That's really sad. So I pulled the book and I kind of thumbed through it, and I went, this is more than just a travel book. And so I checked it out and I started reading it, and after reading this book, I cannot wait to go to Iceland. But this is through the Hedonist guide, Stunning Iceland. So the back of it is, discover the charm of a luxury eco-lodge situated in the middle of nature. Meet the surfers of the Arctic. Get a taste of new Nordic cuisine. Follow the steps of the heroes of Iceland's sagas. Meet the polar fox and blue whale. Bathe in natural hot springs. Admire Icelandic flora. Understand the battle between tectonic plates in the middle of the country. Tour Reykjavik. I was so proud of the fact that I figured out how to pronounce Reykjavik. Tour Reykjavik, the island's beating heart. So this is, yes, it's very much a tour guide, a tour book, but it's also, you also get a little bit of history, you get a little bit of science, you get a little bit of culture, a little bit of the literary arts. They do mention Bjork. You get a little bit of everything. I mean, and it's perfectly called the Hedonist Guide. It's not just picking out certain tourist attractions. Like, they encompass the entire country and give you facts and pieces of history that if you didn't know anything about Iceland before, after this, you will know everything you need to know about Iceland. So much so that you are ready to visit. Let me just show some of these pictures, because just going through this book, like, my mouth dropped many times in just beauty. Let's see. It's like some of these pieces I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like this. Absolutely gorgeous. It's like, is this even real? One thing that I do want to comment on is the fact that there are certain parts of Iceland where the Icelanders believe that that's where elves and trolls live. And honestly, after going through this book, I believe it. I believe that, who knows, maybe the elves of Middle Earth traveled to Iceland and they just decided to stay there. But it is truly a stunning, stunning country. Let's see if I can find another picture. Just more of, let's see, churches and farms and the architecture with that. I don't know if you can see it, but just gorgeous, gorgeous work. So if you have a chance to read Stunning Iceland, even if you don't have any plans of going to Iceland, but you just want to take an armchair vacation, really check out the Hedonist Guide. I saw that they've got one for Paris and one for Venice. So I hope that my library has them because I really want to check them out. And I mean, I've always wanted to go to Paris, but I just want to see their point of view in terms of the city. So for Stunning Iceland by the Hedonist Guide, it of course receives 5 pots of Arctic tea from Viridian Tea House. But yeah, I really do want to go to Iceland. I really want to go to Iceland so badly. I really do. And now, like I said, after reading this book, it's like, when can I go? I just want to pack a bag and go. So many thanks to the folks of the Hedonist Guide for a stunning book. So before I get to the tea, I do want to give a little shout out to this little magazine. If you go to your library, you've probably seen Book Page magazine. I started reading this magazine like 3 or 4 months ago, and if you, like they say on the cover, discover your next great book. I mean, it covers the full gamut of genres, from like literary to poetry to romance to sci-fi fantasy to children's. And this particular issue, the December issue, talks about the gift guide. But I just highly recommend, like, if you're in your library and you're not really sure what to read, or you're just looking for something to grab you, if your library has copies of Book Page, I highly recommend grabbing a copy and just kind of thumbing through it for like a couple of minutes, because chances are your library may actually have some of the books that are listed. So many thumbs up to Book Page. You guys rock. And I don't know, who knows, maybe they'll feature Jackie Verona in the Book Page. So getting to tea. So we're not going to do a tea review today. I'm just going to focus on one of my blends. My first blend ever, Goth Librarian, hence the new label that's been around for a while. So I always tell people there's stories behind my tea blends. So with Goth Librarian, that was the first blend I ever made for my company, and it reflected my book, Tales from a Goth Librarian. Unfortunately, I no longer have that book in print, and I still have the stories, and I may turn them into another collection. I'm not sure, but that's way off into the distance. So now I tell people that with Goth Librarian Tea Blend, it's reminiscent of my time of being in the goth subculture in the mid-90s, and I still am part of the goth subculture, even with my prep school shirt. And librarian-wise, because I've always admired librarians. I think librarians are amazing. And I actually worked in a library during my university years, 92 to 96. So, and what's funny is that I just had an order from a goth librarian in Massachusetts, and she sent me the coolest note. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up on my computer. Let's see. Bear with me for a moment, because I really want to share it. That was so sweet of her. Let's see. Yeah, she says, I am a goth librarian, and when I first got the job, a friend bought me your Goth Librarian tea as a gift. I'm dangerously low now and back for more. Thank you for making these magical blends. So if that particular customer is watching Viridian Tea House, thank you so much for your kind words. I really do appreciate it. But yes, Goth Librarian Tea will never go away. Like I said, it was my first baby, and I'm so proud of it. The ingredients are simple. It's black tea, whole cloves, and allspice. Reminiscent of back in the 90s when a lot of people smoked the clove cigarettes, like in the black and red boxes, you know. So I wanted to take that memory and turn it into a tea blend. Now, the black tea that I use is Assam tea, which comes from the Assam region of India. I've always liked working with Assam tea because it's mild, mellow, a little bit malty, but it works so well with different ingredients. So if you get any black tea blends from me, The black tea is going to be Assam, unless if it's a smoky black, which I get from a completely different company, and that is an African smoked black tea. So there's your Black Tea 101 course. But yes, I love, love, love Goth Librarian Tea Blend, and I even got new bags, as you can see. So if you order from me through Etsy, or if you meet up with me at an event, you're going to see these new bags with the nice new labels and QC codes. Those are in the place of business cards for me. I kind of ran out of business cards earlier in the year, and I noticed that people were doing the QC squares. So now, whenever customers are asking me for business cards, I just tell them, hey, just scan the QC code, all my information pops up, and it's all through allmylinks.com. So anyway, from me to you in my lovely craft mug, a big honking mess of Goth Librarian Tea Blend. I can taste that spice. I love working with cloves and allspice. I never get tired of it. Like I never think of it as just a holiday, just holiday ingredients. Like I could drink this all year round, honestly, iced it or hot or what have you. But once again, Goth Librarian Tea Blend is available in my Etsy store, both in regular bags and in sampler. And actually, I'm going to update my Etsy store because there's going to be more Goth Librarian in stock in just a couple of hours. So if you're really into that blend, just keep refreshing. I'll have it ready in the next 2 hours or so. Which brings us to our breathing meditation before I wish you a fond farewell. So make sure you have a cup of your favorite tea or water. Find yourself in a comfortable position. We're just going to focus on our breathing for just a few seconds. We're just going to take ourselves out of the busy day just to remember to breathe. If you're ready, let's do this. And now let's end this meditation with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes or allow your eyes to come back into focus once more. And now let's have a sip of our tea or water. Delicious. Many thanks to the folks of the Hedonist Guide, to the folks who create Book Page Magazine, to the Spirit of Doris Lessing, and to you, fair viewers. Really appreciate you watching all these crazy videos. And if you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up, or not, but just watch and enjoy. And hopefully I may see some of y'all this Saturday at the Veg Fest Holiday Market, once again at Town Hall Collaborative in Denver. So until then, take care of yourself and each other. Raise your teacup high, and remember that to drink tea is to enjoy life. I will see you guys really soon. Bye for now.